And let's just be honest, if he goes down, we're next.
Physically disciplining someone is biblical.
Any type of physical punishment started as early as a baby, right?
Start when they're very young.
A third of the time, I would say, the spankings went beyond what the law says is legal.
Here's the New Testament version of this. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourges every son whom he receiveth. And here's what the word scourge means. As a verb, to scourge, he scourges every son whom he receiveth. To whip with a scourge or a lash. Then I looked up the word lash. As a verb, to strike or beat, as with a whip or something similar, slender and flexible. Now, I'm trying to think of something similar, slender and flexible. I can't really think of anything, but
First of all over the body, right? Back, arms, chest, stomach, neck, and it was done with a folded up electrical cord.
Corporal punishment is biblical, even for an adult. It actually is specifically, explicitly in both Old and New Testaments talking about physically disciplining adults. Well, no, you never a woman. Well, you just made that up right now.
It's not surprising at all to find out that he goes home and beats his wife.
There was always this attitude of, he said his exact words at one point were, and this was recently actually, very recent, he said that we were all NPCs in his life that were created for him, like to be his children, and my mom was created to be his wife, and that our only purpose was to be part of his life. And so he said that if we were not doing that well, then that we were failing and that we were worthless. And he said that if my mom was not good at being his wife, then she should not exist and that she was worthless without doing that, because he said that we were all NPCs in his life. And he said that women, and by the way, he doesn't preach this from the pulpit, which makes him a hypocrite, but he says in private that women are not worth as much as men because of Eve's sin. And he said that women are not worth as much. And so what he told me was that if a woman cheats on her husband, she should be killed. But if a man cheats on his wife, it's equivalent to fornication, and that marriage is only binding on the side of the woman, not the man. So if a man goes out and sleeps with a woman who is not his wife, then it is as if he's an unmarried man committing fornication. But that if a married woman sleeps with a man that's not her husband, it is adultery and that they should both be killed.
It never once says you can excommunicate someone from the church because they disagree with your personal opinion. He himself says his church is a dictatorship, and the way he keeps that going is if anybody disagrees with him personally, if anybody disagrees with anything he says, he kicks them out of the church, and that way he can make sure that his congregation will always blindly follow him no matter what, because anyone who doesn't blindly follow him is kicked out, which in my opinion, and I believe according to my interpretation of that scripture, is an abuse of his authority and him stepping out of his authority.
And ever since moving out, I've been attending my dad's church, Faithful Word Baptist Church, and until very recently I was on great terms with my parents. As of September 5th of this year, I am kicked out of Faithful Word Baptist Church, and I have not spoken to my father since that time. And the reason for that is because I told my mom, his wife, that I sided with my uncle when it comes to the whole my uncle and Miriam situation. And my parents found that to be such a wrong opinion that it was worth throwing me out of the church for.
But the problem is currently my dad's like, well, this is just between me and my church members or whatever. It's like, yeah, because you kick out anybody who even questions you. Solomon was kicked out because when my parents said Clint needs to die, Solomon said, but I agree with Clint helping Miriam. I think he did the right thing. Boom, kicked out of church. I don't remember that being anywhere in Corinthians, but apparently disagreeing with your parents for saying your uncle should die, apparently that's grounds for church discipline. So it's like, oh, it's between me and my church members. Yeah, what about the ones you kicked out? And even me saying my dad is a faction of fans who are stupid is not grounds to get kicked out of church. I didn't call any of them in particular stupid.
You get out of here. Get him out of here. Drag this bozo out. Pull him out. Hey, help him out. Get him out. We'll throw you out of here, buddy. I'm the man of God here. I meet the qualifications. I run this church. And if you don't like it, then get out. Get out of here, idiot. Pick him up and take him out if you won't leave.
You need to pray for him. This is not
Pick him out. Hey, get out of here. I didn't ask you. You've never even been here, fool. Get out. Get out. Get out. You don't just walk in here and start telling us how to run the church. We got a bunch of filthy faggots out there protesting us right now. We're in a battle right now. Get out of here. You need to ask your advice. Pick him up and get him out of here if he won't leave. You're right. Disagreeing with what I preach is not a reason to be kicked out. You're right. If at this point in the sermon you're already too stupid to figure out who's telling the truth, please get up and just leave right now. Just get out of your seat. The piano will begin to play. Would you come and get out of here? Because you know what? I'm not here to babysit retards.
I'll just start out by saying this. 100% of the things that they said are true. And they are all things that both like me and my siblings all remember. Like, those stories are 100% true. And if anything, in my first brother's interview, my second brother, he, if anything, did not really talk about like a lot of stuff, but everything that he talked about was 100% true. Like, there are so many more stories, if anything, that like were not even brought up, just because obviously for sake of time, like they can't go into every single story, because this was like almost a daily occurrence, if not a daily occurrence, where like extreme abuse was happening. And so they, if anything, could not talk about everything, but everything that they said was 100% true. And I personally witnessed all of those events, whether it be the thing with the pistachios, that I remember happening very vividly. And there were even more scenarios like this.
There definitely were times that I was afraid for my own life, afraid for my own safety on a daily basis as a little kid. And yeah, that is going to have a permanent damaging effect. I've noticed that also having an effect on my other siblings, picking up stuff, noticing some stuff, and yeah.
There's not a part of my body that I have not been beaten on. Like, literally, they would just attack us, essentially. It wasn't like, okay, you know, bend over, you're getting a spanking. It was like just a full-blown attack. It was, they wanted to do whatever they could to intimidate us, hurt us. They would intentionally like try to get in our heads and mess with us. Like, I remember this one time my mom, I was like cleaning the house or something, because it was just kind of what I did. And she was like, Miriam, she was like, every time I see you, she was like, I want to spit in your face. And she was like, just seeing your face makes me so like angry and sick to my stomach. That she was like, every time I lay eyes on you, I want to spit on you. If I walk into a room and you're in there, you better just walk out silently and not say a word to me. Because she said, if I see you, I'm going to want to spit on you and I'm going to feel sick. She said, and I don't want to go through my life feeling sick. And she said, and you make me sick. So I don't want to go through my life feeling sick. So like, you're just going to have to avoid me.
The Bible in its qualifications for a pastor says, rule and well your own house. Do you think that spousal and child abuse is rule and well your own house? That's a question you gotta ask yourself.
I thought about suicide constantly for like, you know, years on end. Like, from the time that I was probably like 11 to 15, I thought about killing myself like every day. And like, I remember like, even as a little kid, like praying that God would like kill me, because like, I just did not want to be around anymore.
My parents cannot reach her, and I don't think they want to, because I might add, I told my parents they are so lucky they miserably failed to get Miriam back, because knowing what they would have done, they would have probably beaten her senseless.
My mom is extremely awful towards her kids. Like, my sisters, like, she'd like get mad at my teenage sisters who are like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right at that age, and she would just like be like, you're ugly, no guy's gonna want to date you, just like those kinds of things, where it's just like trying to be just like as damaging and hurtful as possible. In the last conversation with my mom, she was going off on my sister, because 15-year-old sister, because she didn't like that she got up late, and she just starts like screaming at her, going off on her. This was part of the interaction that was like the final straw. And I said to her, I said, wow, you really gotta like think about what you're saying to her. She is a 15-year-old girl. Like, that's going to affect her self-esteem. That's going to affect her self-worth, her self-image. And she said, I hope it ruins her self-image and her self-worth to the point where she regrets making me mad and knows that she needs to listen to me.
I have been in multiple like situations where it was like, she would feed me food just to make me sick as like a punishment. And then it was like, if you throw that, like if you dare spit that out. And like, there were a couple times when I spat out and she would like violently hit me across the face, and she would like hold my head like by my hair, because I've always had like long hair, and she would like hit me in the face with paddles and like her fists. And it was like, I knew like if I dare spit out this food, like I am going to get like beaten so badly. And so it was like a big punishment when they took away food or made us eat these things. And the thing is, they liked doing this as a punishment because it didn't leave marks. And obviously they did a lot of punishments that left marks or like injured us, where we would have bloody like welts on our arms and like stripes on our back. We would have all sorts of bruising. There was even a time that my dad like hit my brother's head into something and he had like a cut, and it was all the way down to his skull, actually. Like you could see the bone.
But if he felt that we made him look stupid to church members, that really activated his rage, that really triggered him. So he grabbed my brother, threw him. His head hit we lived in a brick house at that time, hit a corner of a windowsill and split it open.
And Solomon had his head grabbed, and his head was like smashed like a melon over it, and it split him to where you could see his exposed skull underneath the bone. Well, underneath the skin, it split him to the bone, and he's permanently scarred on the side of his head. It's underneath his hair, so you can't see it all the time. I was in the other room when he got his head smashed, but I did see him bleeding all over the place. So I remember seeing him outside, because then they promptly made him go like do yard work in the heat or something. He had like blood running down the side of his head, and, like his whole shirt was covered in blood. Because obviously, if you see someone gets their head split, it bleeds pretty badly. So yeah, he was bleeding all over the place from that. I don't think I saw him get his head smashed though, no. But I heard about it, like he told me.
There is evidence that it did. I mean, my brother, for example, has a scar on the side of his head. Like that shows, people can look at that, like that's a very just concrete piece of evidence.
A couple of my dad's peanut butter cups go missing from the refrigerator. He's pissed about that. Again, it's not that deep. Maybe be like, hey guys, don't take my shit. But when you live in a house with that many people, sometimes stuff is gonna go missing out of the fridge. I know I've lost a lot of food out of the fridge too. So my dad's mad. He buys new peanut butter cups. They go missing too. So he's mad. Okay, he's mad. I get it. Your kids shouldn't be taking your candy. So they can't figure out who is doing this. And my mom, she's like, my statement analysis skills aren't good enough, basically. She's like, we're gonna call an expert. So she had every single one of her kids write this essay where it was 4 or 5 questions, and we wrote essay answers, right? You couldn't just answer the question, you wrote an essay answer. So the questions were did you take the peanut butter cups? Tell me about what you did all day, the day they went missing. What do you think should happen to the person that took them? What's wrong with taking them? And it was super, super weird. That's really fucking weird. That's some communist mind control, Soviet Union type thing, where we have to write these essays about and I remember my essay, dude, and I was 13 at the time, maybe, I don't know. And I'm writing my essay because I was smart and I knew what obviously right. I'm writing oh man, whoever did this is a horrible person. I don't know why they would disrespect dad in that kind of way. And I felt super weird about it at the time. I'm like, this isn't really normal. So then all the kids write it. So the youngest kid that was made to write an essay was my sister, whose name I'm not gonna say because I haven't gotten permission on that. But she was probably 7, really young. So she obviously can't write a good essay. So she just writes oh, I didn't take them. And my mom emails all these essays to her statement analysis mentor, who 2 years later my parents had a falling out with, because they're this guy's a scammer. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, he's a scammer selling these online courses. So my parents themselves later recognized this dude as a scammer and not legit. And he goes, that child's lying, the 6 or 7-year-old. And then my parents proceed to beat the absolute shit out of her for it. I don't know if she took the peanut butter cups or not, probably not. So, and it was kind of a common thing where that happened several times, where she always got blamed for stuff because she's a little kid, so just didn't know what to say. Whereas all of us were a bit older, kind of figured out okay, this is what I say.
The statement analysis is not admissible in court because it's too unreliable, especially not on small children. So the principle of statement analysis is, here's the main thing, that most people don't like lying and will avoid directly lying at all costs. So they will try to not lie. So they'll try to say things like, why would I do this? I would never do this, instead of I didn't do this. When people go, Pastor Anderson, did you beat your wife with an extension cord? He goes, I've never abused my wife. Well, that wasn't the question, was it?
Right.
That's what it is. At my dad's meeting, he didn't deny hitting his wife. Him and my mom go, we've never been abusive. My mom goes, my husband has never abused me. Well, that's not a very direct answer, is it? So the funniest part about the statement analysis is that my parents can't even issue the reliable denials. And here's the problem. I read my mom's stupid statement analysis books. So when my mom would accuse me of doing something that I absolutely did, I knew how to give the reliable denial. I go, I did not do this. And then my siblings going, so we'd write our essay and stuff about what we did. It would be like, whoever took Dad's peanut butter cups, this is just absolutely reprehensible, disgusting. He works so hard to take care of us, and he has his peanut butter cups. And the child who would take these from their own father and lie about it, unfathomable. And then it was Anna who just went, I didn't do it, because Anna was like a little kid, and Anna just got beaten senseless. I don't know who did it.
Wow.
Seen a lot of I don't know who did it. Either way, like obviously I'm giving a super reliable denial. I'm ticking every box. Because the problem is statement analysis doesn't work if you know about it, which my parents apparently just will not issue reliable denials. So actually maybe statement analysis is more accurate than we give it credit, because statement analysis makes my parents, if a statement analyst looked at our testimony, my parents' testimony, they would come to the conclusion that my parents are being very dishonest and we're actually not. But yeah, statement analysis is not that credible.
I still love both of my parents, which like I realize is kind of like a controversial thing to say on some hand, because it's like it doesn't really make sense, like from like I guess like an intellectual standpoint. Like obviously, like they've done a lot to me and my siblings that is kind of something that is horrible. But I still love both of them, and it hurts me because I'm just so disappointed, because it's just such a waste. Like they could have done anything with their lives. They could have had all of us, and they could have treated us well, and we could have had some like Thanksgiving where we all get together and we're all happy, and they would have been happier like through all of that, and they could have had like a happier life, and they could have like loved people and been loved in return. And I feel bad for them, because honestly they missed out on having a happy life. Like they're not happy, and I love them and I feel bad for them, but at the same time, like I'm so disappointed in their behavior, and I'm just like, and I'm hurt because I've never understood why they don't love me, and I've never understood why they had me if they weren't gonna love me. And so I don't know, I guess I just tell them that like that I love them, but like that like the way that they've hurt me is like something that they can like never like really repair. And so I would just like plead with them to just please, like, even if they never talk to me again, and even if they never like love me or care about me, or even if they're like never like kind to me or good to me, that they would just like be nice to my siblings, and that they would just like treat them well, and that like at least they would give them the childhood like that I never got to have, and that they could like grow up like feeling loved and not having to like feel unwanted their entire life. And I would just want them to like just treat them well, and like I would just want them to just whatever they've done in the past, just put it behind them. Like, and there's no way that they can ever fix the things that they've done, and I don't even need them to apologize to me. I don't want them to say sorry. I don't need that, but it's just I just want them to stop, and I just want them to take a step back and just with the time that they have left with their kids, if they have time left with their kids, because obviously I don't know what's going to happen with CBS, and obviously I do believe that it would be best if they were pulled out of that home. But if they do remain like with custody of my siblings, I just want them to just take care of them, and just not continue this, and just realize how badly they've hurt us, and that it's not helping them, and it's not helping us, and just for them to just fix it. And like, I'm not mad at them. Like, I forgive both of my parents for everything that's happened, and I still love them. And you know what? I hope that maybe one day I can see them again, and they can treat me like a human being, and I'm willing to, and obviously I would treat them well, and I would be kind to them. But I just, even if they never want to see me again, and even if they want me dead, which is probably the case, I just want them to just do better with my siblings. Like, I have like a little brother who's like 2. I have a sister who's 4. I just want those kids to just grow up better than I did. And I just hope that my parents I just want them to fix this, you know? And I just want them to just at least try. Like, I don't know if they're ever gonna get better, but, you know, maybe they could go to therapy and maybe they could work through whatever it is that's hurting them on the inside, that's causing them to hurt other people. But I just want them to just do better with their other kids, or at least just, even if the kids get taken away, I just want them, they have a lot left on their life, you know? And, like, they still have time to, like, do better. And I just want them to do better. And I want them to know I'm not mad at them. I'm not angry. I forgive them and I love them, but they still have time to, like, be better people. And I just want that for them.
I think with that, I want to thank you very much for coming forward and for your bravery and your honesty with this. And know that there are people out there who support you and your siblings and want you to do well and are praying for you.
Yeah, but you know, it's the Miriam video that got me though. Yeah. You know. Oh, you talking about the video where the host is in a dress, wearing makeup, Boy George, right out of the gate, first few minutes, because at least like he tried to look like semi-normal in some of the other interviews. I mean, he still looks like a freak, but like, I mean, this one is just fully in drag. So that's the one that did it for you, huh? All right, dumbass, there's the door.
Vi har tidigare kollat klipp när Steven Andersons nära vän Jonathan Shelley i hemlighet blir inspelad under ett samtal med Stevens son John. I just den inspelningen gjorde han en hel del avslöjanden och erkännanden som han offentligt inte står för. Och det är inte bara den gången som Shelley säger en sak bakom stängda dörrar och något annat offentligt. Vi lyssnar på ytterligare ett i hemlighet inspelat samtal.
I feel like unfortunately there's been a lack of care or concern for his children throughout this based on the conversations I've had with him one-on-one. Additionally, there has been some inconsistent testimony between him and his wife in the private communications that I've had. Additionally, I personally believe that he's invoked God several times in a need to persuade, saying statements like, as God is my witness, and in a private conversation with me, saying, I would stand before God right now and say I've done nothing wrong. And that disturbed me. He's made no specific refutation video to address the issues. And this is uncharacteristic for him. When he and I were dealing with the Adam Fannin situation, the Donnie Romero situation, his Tyler Baker situation, or even questions about his ordination, he made long, specific refutation videos to address all of those issues. What he's done so far is uncharacteristic. I've talked to him multiple times, and I had a recent conversation with him to try to address what I'm saying to you right now. He did not want to have the conversation with me. He was unwilling to discuss this, and he said very alarming things to me. One of those is being that he's going to burn it all down.
I think he's going to stop being your friend if you come out with a statement that says, in your opinion, he should take a leave of absence or step down. I'm curious your reaction to that.
Yes, he says that if I make this statement, he thinks Pastor Anderson will be my friend. It's probably true. I don't know for sure. I have expressed to him how I feel generally. Obviously, I haven't made that statement to him exactly, but even if someone's not my friend, that doesn't mean I can't be their friend. So, you know, doesn't mean I can't be friendly towards them and support them and want good for them. And, you know, friendship sometimes is one way. I agree some things are not clear. But here's the thing, the decisions I'm making are based on things that will change. Number one, he doxed his brother Clint at a time that did not seem appropriate. Number two, his 4 children are against him currently. Number three, him and his wife and his children are publicly attacking each other, which is causing a lot of envy and strife amongst all Christians. No matter what you think, those are just facts. So based on those facts, I've come to the conclusion that I've come to. And it's not going to really change. Obviously, if Pastor Anderson took an immediate leave of absence, I think there might be a blind spot, and he could reconcile with all of his kids, and then he continued pastoring, maybe I would say, I don't know, maybe he fixed it and we'll just move on. But obviously, then the trajectory that it's headed, and the decisions that he's making, and his behavior, I think that it makes sense for him to either just step down or take a leave of absence. That's my position.
And let me say something. I love Pastor Anderson, and I'm going to continue supporting him, and I think he should continue pastoring because this is an obvious satanic spiritual attack. And I've been a little bit foggy on this, and I have, been weighing a lot of the information, but at this point, I believe he's at the tip of the spear right now, and let's just be honest. If he goes down, we're next. If he goes down, we're next.